The Honda Civic continues to evolve. They call it Civic Nation. Last year they brought out the sedan, won North American Car of the Year, Canadian Car of the Year. It's been the best seller. It's going to finish out this year, heading into 2017, with 19 years as the best-selling passenger car in Canada. So Canadians love the Civic. They brought out the coupe, and now we have the hatchback. This car is made in England, not at the Canadian assembly plant north of Toronto. So it's made in England and brought over, and it has a slightly different look than the regular sedan. You notice right away the front of the vehicle has a larger and wider front air opening, and you can also see where there would be chrome in the sedan in the front grille. It's blacked out on this vehicle. Around the back, it's got a square look to it. This vehicle is 113 millimeters shorter than the regular sedan, but the wheelbase remains the same, and that means you get the same interior dimensions. Around the back, the opening is kind of oval but quite large, and Honda claims it's the largest capacity behind the second row of seats. They fold down quite easily. You'll also notice that the tonneau cover doesn't slide front to back, it slides side to side, which is quite a clever way of having a tonneau cover, but moving it out of the way and not having to store it in your garage when you want to put something larger in the vehicle. Now, there's a totally different attitude towards the hatchback than the regular sedan. Honda has decided to make this vehicle more upscale. So the one we're driving here today is called LX. Then you have Sport and Sport Touring. Now there's two major differences between the regular Civic and this hatchback. First of all, it comes standard with the turbocharged engine. No 2-liter is available. You get the 1.5-liter turbo. Then on top of that, for the Sport and Sport Touring models, you get a slight bump in horsepower from 174 horsepower to 180 horsepower, but it runs on premium fuel. But overall, it's sort of a morphed version of what we've already seen in the marketplace. Styling around the back might take a little bit of while to get used to. Inside is more of the same, but the way it drives, I think, is actually top-notch. Now, the car I have today is the base LX, and it starts at $21,000 for the manual, $22,600 if you want to get it with the continuously variable transmission. That's the one I have here. But this car does not have the lane watch. You have to buy the Honda Sensing package. That pumps the price up to $23,690. So really, that's the one that most people are going to buy. So don't look at the base price as $21,000, more than likely around $23,000, almost $24,000. You want to get a sunroof and the bigger alloy wheels, you need to jump into the Sport, and that starts at $27,490 if you want the continuously variable transmission. That car does, however, come standard with the Honda Sensing Active Safety Suite. Now, the problem with that, you're going to go up to $27,000, plus you're going to have to buy premium fuel for the uprated turbocharged engine. Now the interior, there's really nothing to talk about. It's the same as all of the other vehicles. If you get the Sport, which we don't have here, you get a slightly different insert into the dashboard. Overall, it's still very comfortable. Lots of room for everybody, and we're here just outside of Toronto, heading up to Muskoka through some beautiful twisty roads, and this should be fun. So right out of the gate, you get 174 horsepower. But if you want to get the bump in horsepower, it's 6 more horsepower to 180 horsepower, you need to put in premium fuel. Torque goes up though from 167 pound-feet to 177 pound-feet. But where I live, premium fuel is about a 15-cent per liter premium to fill your car. And I think that's really going to limit a lot of potential buyers because, first of all, this car isn't inexpensive. It's becoming more upscale. And then you have to add on the premium fuel mix. And I think they're really going to limit themselves. I asked them, why won't you just bring in a 2.0 naturally aspirated version like you have in the Civic line and make it less expensive like the Civic always was? But they really want to move it upscale, and I think it's because this car is made in England. They have to pay duty at 6.1% to bring it in the country. So on a $20,000 car, this car is already about $1,200 more than it would be compared to the cars that are made here in Ontario. Now I am going to get a chance to drive for the first time the turbocharged engine with the manual transmission, but I got to tell you, this continuously variable is doing a great job. All you need to do is put it into Sport, and when you have it through these backcountry roads with the stunning fall colors, you can actually get this car to hustle along. Now, one of the things Honda has always placed as a major priority with the Civic has been great handling. Well, some other cars don't have an independent rear suspension. This car does, and it's got a long, low, and wide stance on the road, so it has a very sporty feel when you get it into the corners. Now, they claim that if you get this with the Sport package and the 18-inch wheels, that the levels of grip and cornering ability go way up. Now, we don't have that option here today, but we'll have to take Honda's word for it. Bigger tires usually does help quite a bit. But man, this car just hugs the road. It's so much fun to drive. Really is. So are people going to shell out the extra money, first of all, to get the more powerful turbo engine, which is barely more powerful? You get basically 6 more horsepower and 10 foot-pounds more torque. Is that worth it? You have to decide. Plus, every time you fill it up, it's going to cost you more money. Now, for those of you who may be too young to know, the Honda Civic manual has always been a thing of beauty. Honda knows how to do beautiful manual transmissions. The shifts are absolutely butter-like. Now, the uptake on the clutch is very, very light. It's very light. They do that for one main reason. It makes it easy for anybody who's never driven a manual before to learn, but I would like a slightly crisper pressure point on there, but you can't fault the smoothness of this, and it really does make this turbocharged engine absolutely a joy to drive. I mean, this really is the one I would get. You know what? You can get the manual with the Sport and the Sport Touring, but you can wring a whole lot out of this car with the manual transmission. The bottom end torque is excellent too. Good job. You can heel and toe downshift. The pedal placement is very good. Overall, manual transmission in the turbo is great. Unfortunately, you cannot get it in the sedan. That's another thing they're doing, is pushing you in to the hatchback at a higher price if you want the manual. Now, they do have a static display here. This is the Sport Touring. Looks great with the black wheels, especially the dual exhaust tips around the back and the side skirt down the side. Now, these cars are in the market starting at $21,000, going up to $31,000, which is quite expensive. But the good news is, for Civic Nation, there will be SI versions of the sedan, the hatch, and the coupe, along with Type R.